Alright, we're back. Um, so let's pick it up. We're looking at the caged. This is our A box. You notice we have an A-shaped pentatonic here. In the key of C it'd be. And if you're going to do that to music, okay, it'd be like, you do something like. You work your way up through that same pentatonic scale, but that's what the scale is, kind of pointed to it there. So this is our good old time favorite tri-pentatonic, 1, 4, 5 pentatonic. And remember one thing about 4 and 5 in the 1, 4, 5 pentatonic boxes, they're pentatonic, whereas 1 can be diatonic. And if you want to play diatonic off that 4th and 5th, you have to follow the 1 scale. So 1's diatonic, it can be pentatonic. But when you go to 4, you have to follow the 1 scale. Becomes Lydian, 5 becomes Mixolydian with that dominant 7. Okay, but you can do, so you do the pentatonic off of it. That's the tri-pentatonic, and it's in all of the cages. So there's E-shaped tri-pentatonic, there's D-shaped tri-pentatonic, C-shaped, A-shaped, and G-shaped. Well, let's look at that. It's important to understand what this is. So here's root in the E box. So we've got root, maybe way down here. Like that. So we've got root 2, 3, 5, 6 root, but that's sunken, right? You see how that 3 is sunken? We can't play that particular 3 there. We would have to go up here to do it. So that's kind of where the long scales come in. 5, 6, and then root 2. But the point is, let's pretend you can play this. The root pentatonic scale is the E-shaped scale. It's just that we can't play the 3, the 6, and the 2 in the normal pentatonic E shape. Because we can't play, this is in the key of C now, we can't play the 3rd, the 6th, or the 2nd without doing the long pattern. That just takes us up to the short D pattern there. So we go, this is the walkover, and then we just do the long D pattern. The point is, the root pentatonic scale, root 2, 3, 5, 6, is in the E box. And then the first inversion of that thing is the D pentatonic, the D-shaped D box pentatonic scale, 2, 3, 5, 6 root. The second inversion is the C box pentatonic scale, 3, 5, 6 root 2. The third inversion is the A box pentatonic scale, 5, 6 root 2, 3. So you see, it's all the same scale. It's all the same scale, the root scale, and then the G box is 6 root 2, 3, 5. 6 root 2, 3, 5, and that's the favorite of everybody, really. The G box pentatonic scale. If you do it in the key of G, E becomes the 6, and it's 6 root 2, 3, 5, 6 root 2, 3, 5, 6 root. And that's where a lot of the, you see, but it's the same scale. You just put a little, okay, and then if you just do the E minor, okay, it's like the whole song West Virginia or something is all done in that same pentatonic scale. I'm not going to mess that up. So, somebody told me that there was a video about that. It's amazing. All right, so okay, so we looked at that. Now here up an octave up from the open root. You know, we could get those sunken notes. And that would be up here. And the key is C. It'd be or okay, so you put a little feeling into it. And that's all you need to do once you know the scales. If it's too easy, it's hard to make a melody, but the guitar kind of puts it into thirds and seconds for you, whereas there's this tendency on the piano to want to do this walking bass. Etc., etc. It's too easy on the piano. Perhaps it's a little harder to do it what the guitar does for you, which is to put it in seconds and thirds here. And it's important to know the intervals in between the string shapes. So let's go back to our string shape diagram. Okay, the intervals between the string shapes, between 4 and 5, we have a whole step. Okay, so we're going from 4 to 5. Between 6 and 7, we have a whole step. Between 2 and 3, we have a whole step. Between 5 and 6, we have a whole step. Between root and 2, we have a whole step. So there's a whole step in between all of these. But that's not the case with the long patterns. Let's take a quick look up there. Here's the long patterns. I knew I was going to have a little bit of concern trying to get to this diagram up here. Between 3 and 4 we have a half step. Between 7 and root we have a half step. Between 6 and 7 there's a whole step there. You know why? You go up as a fourth, a third, a minor third, a half step, a whole step rather. Okay, up here is a fourth, a third, a minor third, a whole step, a half step. Okay, any lower, that 3 would be the same note. Be the same note. Half step, whole step, minor third, third, fourth, augmented fourth, fifth. The fifth is new because if you want to play cello patterns on the guitar, you have to go up that fifth to simulate the P5 tuning. So here's the string shapes. Meet the string shapes. They're modern Stone Age family. A is 5/6, E is 7 root 2, C is 3/4/5, G is 6/7 root. And remember, these are the bottom strings of the cages when you're playing in the D cage. What's the D cage? Let's look. Here's a D. Oh, I shouldn't have hit that dominant because then it would be the key of A or something, the key of G. Anyway, here's a D. So we're over here. E becomes the second of that D. Okay? So that's what I'm talking about. These are the bottom strings. Now, what about